So a lot of new people have asked me, um, how do you do it over the phone or through, right, and not
Yeah.
in
So
person? Do you
yeah,
want to speak to that a
yeah,
little?
yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great question. I love that question. It's because frequency work doesn't occur in the time bound. It occurs in the timeless. And you might be like, huh?
Hmm.
What did she just say?
Hmm.
Okay, so to understand time, I really recommend episode 80, which is what is time. Okay, then you'll understand what time is because it's actually a whole half an hour discussion about what time is. So frequency work occurs beyond time, this space-time resonance. Okay, it occurs in the timeless, or what I would call the eternal now. Okay, so there's two forms of time. So this is probably a longer answer than some of you want, but when you get it, you'll be like, oh, I get it.
Hmm.
So there's two forms of time. There's the eternal now. So everything on spirit level happens now, right now. Everything is happening in the present moment. Now, for us with brains and the idea of linear time, we're like, what? How can everything possibly be happening right now? That's not possible. That's because our brains can't compute at that level. Just imagine, like, trying to understand what that even means. Like, infinite things happening all at the same time. You're like, what? It's like, would make your mind blow up. You just can't handle it. Exactly. Your mind can't process it because it's not a big enough, like, computer, like, it's not able to compute all of that. Whereas you as a consciousness can, because you're infinite, right? You compute at a much higher level. For our minds, because we're human, we can't understand the eternal now. We can't even understand infinite. Like, it doesn't make sense to us. So what we do is we compress time. Okay, we can flatten it just like the way that we flatten music to create an MP3. Right, you have all this beautiful sound and music, and then if you listen to something live, it's very rich. But then to send things over our phones, we compress all that data to make an MP3, so we can send it as data, and we can still hear the sound, but it's not as rich. It doesn't have all the nuances. Okay, we do the same thing with time. We compress time to make it linear, so we have past, present, future that our brains can understand. But it's a human creation. So when I'm working at the frequency level, I'm working in the eternal now, okay, which is at the level of consciousness. And that affects the physicalness because your physicalness is a mirror of frequency. So it doesn't matter where you're physically located because I'm working on you, not on your physical body. I'm working on you at the frequency level, which happens beyond time space in the eternal now. And that's why I can resolve past lives because I can, at the eternal now, everything is happening now. So I can access all the different timelines, all the different time space and space-time realities and alter them there at the source of the you see what I'm saying? I'm not bound by linear time.
Right.
So that's why I don't have to be physically proximate to you to do the work. It's not required.
And that's why you can re-listen to things that you've done live, and it's still just as powerful.
Totally. Yes, because you don't have to be physically proximate.